Hawkman issue 15, written by Robert Venditti and art by
Mm.
Patrick O'Leaf. So, knock yourselves out.
Yeah. Uh, Hawkman had his shadow stolen by Shadow Thief, and he's not taking it well.
No, he's been flying for like 4 days straight trying to
Yep.
get to the shade.
Which made me think he's racing the sun, right? Because like he doesn't want that shadow.
And what I think's interesting is right now he doesn't even realize the magnitude of what's happened. He doesn't
No.
realize he's lost his shadow.
No.
It's just a case of, hey, Shadow Thief did some shit I've never seen before. I need help.
Yep. And so who does he go to? The one guy that controls an entire shadow realm, and that is the Shade. Which I'm always a fan of the Shade showing up. I still need to read Starman, where he kind of came to be this character we all know now. But he just has this gentlemanly quality to him that I enjoy.
He does. He does.
And so he goes to him, and the Shade explains to Carter. Well, first he transforms him back into Carter, which I thought that was a pretty cool scene. The nth metal.
I actually got a good chuckle. You know, Hawkman's there dying on the street.
Yep.
He's like, oh, can't have you lying in the street like this. Decent people will talk. And then he just clicks the button. And he's back to Carter Hall, archaeologist. And he's like, much improved, my boy.
Yeah. Again, he's proper. Like I like that a gentleman. And so he gets him in there, and he explains that, your shadow is actually part of your soul. Like, yeah, we think it's just light cast against us, but your shadow is the closest thing to your soul that makes it outside the body.
Yeah, and I love the moment where he realizes, because he goes to, they're talking, he's got his journal, they're asking for help, yada yada yada, the usual stuff that you'd expect here.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes to give him back the journal, and it's when he puts his hand out, and he just stops and takes it back, and he just goes, "Oh bloody hell!" He just sees it. It's like, there's no shadow there. What's going on?
Yeah.
This is not good.
Yeah. And so he explains that Shadow Thief now, it's not just that he can, he's not just this thief that would, Carter goes around and finds these artifacts, and that's what's great about the dynamic between him and Shadow Thief is, Carter acquires these things Indiana Jones style for the world to enjoy, and Shadow Thief breaks into those places, those museums, those collections,
and steals them.
And he's like, but now he's really upped it. Now he controls the shadows, and he is the shadow. And again, it made me think of Princess and the Frog, Dr. Facilier,
Yeah. I would say, after
anytime.
last month's issue, obviously we were talking about that song quite a bit.
Yeah.
About an hour after we finished recording, Matt messaged me going, "Hey, look what just showed up on Shuffle."
Yeah.
I was like, that's so weird.
Yep. So after he explains that this is a piece of your soul, and now basically he stole part of you
through this. He will always know where you are and can just find you through your shadow.
And so he goes into a safe room, which is just blasted with light.
Yeah, it's like light
mirrors
from all sides, so it doesn't create any shadow.
Except
when he opens his mouth to talk, it creates a shadow, at the bottom of his mouth. And the Shadow Thief kind of comes out of his shadow. It's a fantastic, the shadow forming out of his mouth and choking him. And the Shade's like, damn it, when I planned to come in here, I assumed I'd be alone. I never accounted for having to open my mouth and creating my own shadow internally like that.
Yep.
It's great. And Hawkman flips out, basically destroys the room.
Because Shade's shadow gets stolen as well.
Yeah.
And then again, I love how gentlemanly Shade is. He's like, oh well, gotta go get it back. Like he has this confidence. Like, sure, he's part of this realm now, but
all issues like that. When Hawkman's like, oh hey, you're still using that cane I gave you, and he's like, oh this old thing. No, I actually hate it. I rarely use it, but I couldn't get rid of it. What you come round. What if you saw I didn't have it? You'd be insulted. You can't be having that.
He's delightfully British. Like
he really is.
He is Colin Firth in the spy movie.
Kingsman.
Kingsman. Thank you.
Yeah, he really is.
So,
oh man, I want Colin Firth to play this guy.
Yeah, right. And so So Hawkman destroys the safe room, and
Yeah.
I felt like Shade's like, yeah, you got that out of your system now. We can we can go. And so they takes him into the Shadow Realm, which the last time we saw that was in Flash. So it's been a minute.
Yeah. So that's where at least the next chunk of this arc is going to take place. We're going into the Shadowlands to try and get their shadows back from Shadow Thief. I'm digging this arc so far. It's pretty good.
Too.
I don't think it's as standout as the first big arc was. Same goes to the art. I think the art actually suits all this shadowy stuff.
Yeah, it does, but I'm still not a big fan of it. Like, yeah, it's fine.
No, I think the faces suffer at point. I think when they're when he's in costume, it's fine. I think when he's just Carter Hall, faces do suffer a bit.
Yeah.
I suspect the next issue in the Shadowlands will absolutely shine. With this art.
Yeah.
I think it really suits that.
Yeah, I agree. But no, this is a fun story, and again, I like the shade. I need to get reading that Starman.
Yeah, me too.
Like the Robinson, the Robinson run with Jack and them. So, but yeah, no, I love Hawkman. Like Venditti, it's probably my favorite thing he's ever written for DC.
Yeah, it's been such a consistent book as well.
Yeah, I hope that something in this Hawkman run gets that kind of treatment where it becomes part of the general comics pop culture of Hawkman. Who's kind of, despite being around forever, doesn't really have too many stories that you're like, oh, that's the quintessential Hawkman story.
No, he really doesn't. I mean, up until recently, you kind of just pointed the Johns run, right?
Yeah, right. And even then, I read that a year and a half ago, and it doesn't really stick out.
Yeah. I mean, it's solid, but it's not the best thing ever.
No.
I mean, don't get me wrong. This hasn't had as many issues, but I think this will probably be better than that. Should it hold up?
Oh, it definitely feels like Venditti has something to say when it comes to this character. So, which is good. But no, the stuff with the shade, I like. I mean, I say it all the time. When we get to comics and they're so interconnected, and you can have that character show up like the shade, to where the last time we saw him was in Flash. And now he's showing up in Hawkman. It definitely feels like you feel the connectedness.
I appreciate that. Should you have never encountered him before, it makes very clear, hey, this is a guy who deals with shadows. That's why Hawkman's come to him. It's always very clear in context of this issue that you don't need any external information for it to work, which I think is important.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 7.5.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8. I really like this one.